All right, thank you for tuning in. I am so excited. Like I said before, this is really an exciting time to be alive with so much going on with technology. I'm Dr. Imfan Akpan, and I want to talk to you about OpenAI's newest model.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame, cause I...
All right, let's get into it. So last week, OpenAI released their newest model, which, if you're in the AI circles, there's been a lot of discussion about it. So on September 12th, for ChatGPT Plus and Teams users, so paid users, you're able to access the O1 preview. And this starts off a series of reasoning models. So it's designed to solve hard problems. And if you use it, what's interesting is that it takes maybe about 7 seconds or 10 seconds to answer your question. So whatever you give to it, it takes some time to really go through it before it gives you an answer. The other thing is that you're not able to upload documents or attachments like you are on the Omni versions or the other versions of ChatGPT. So you have to copy and paste text and then ask your question. Now it says it performs similarly to PhD students on benchmarks like physics, chemistry, and biology, and that it does really good with coding and math, which is awesome. As far as the safety portion, they don't let you see what it's doing. So you can't see how it's doing the reasoning, which I think is very interesting. I'm going to click here and go to this research post. So this talks about reasoning with LLMs, and it gives the 4.0 and the preview O. So if you look at this, the performance is really wow. Now it gives us the O1 preview has 56.7%, and then the O1 model 83.3. Then it's showing the preview for competition code. It's at 62%, and the O1's at 89%. So if you look at the PhD level science questions, the O1 preview is at 78.3%, which is higher than an expert human, which is at 69.7%. And then if you look at the same thing with the PhD level science questions, the 4.0 and then the O1 improvement, you can see that physics is 92.8. Machine learning with math, it's 94.8 of an improvement. And this is something I think we're not really talking about, particularly how well humans are performing on these benchmarks. And I think when we look at it and when we're talking about the models, we're always searching for perfection, and we're pushing towards ASI, AGI, and beyond. And I think that we discount the fact that these models, in many respects, are ahead of us already. So if you see it in physics, in math, I'm wondering how well does a human score on that? And I think we really discount the power of the models and the way they work already. I do believe those who created the models, they understand this very well. I talked about this before on a paper that was written in Archive about how, if you think about education attainment rates in the US, around 44, 46% of adults in the US have bachelor's degrees. And if you look at the performance of these models on benchmarks, it's about 86%. Um, so if we've only got 44%, and so it's a minority of the population that even have a bachelor's degree, and these models are performing better, 80 something percent on undergraduate level assessments. Wow. And the same could be said when you think about graduate level assessments. Now we're looking at PhDs. Do you know how many PhD that overall the amount of PhDs in the US are somewhere around 2%? And then if you look at physics, that's an even smaller percentage of that 2% of PhD students or individuals with PhDs in physics. So you're looking at a small group of individuals whom this particular model can perform better than. So I think that's amazing. And that's something that we don't talk about very much. The other thing that I thought was very interesting, which I am highly on the research side of this, is the pricing for the tokens. So when you look at this, if we go through, the 4.0 mini pricing, we see it's 0.15 per million input tokens for GPT 4.0 mini. So we look at 4.0, we've got $5 per million input. And then let's see, these are the input, and then we got the output, $2.50 for the model. So if we go back to the mini, the pricing is a lot more, is a lot lower for the mini. Now, if we go down here to the O1 preview, it's $15 per input token and $60 per million output tokens. Wow. I'm sorry, I misspoke on the pricing with the 4.0. So it's $5 per million input tokens and then $15 per million output tokens. And then when we get to the pricing for the O1 preview, that's $60 per million output tokens. 15. So this is the preview, O1 preview. The mini is a little bit better with $3 per million input and $12 per output. So, wow. Why is that pricing so high? And I think when we start to look at this, and the more and more I think about it, intelligence is going to cost. And the best intelligence is going to cost more money. I was reading where potentially, and this is all speculation, that OpenAI will release models that will cost $2,000 to have access to. So when you think about this pricing, you think about the availability of these models, it's going to cost more and more for intelligence. And I believe there's going to be more of a rift between the haves and the have-nots, and the ones who have access to the best intelligence and those who do not. Now, granted, OpenAI gives everyone free access to the 4 Omni, but how long can you use it? Same thing with Claude 3.5. You can use it, but you only have a certain amount of questions that you can ask it. And then you need to get to that paid version. So I think we're going to see more and more of this as this moves forward. And then with that paywall and with that pricing becoming more and more of a challenge, meaning have and have nots, as an educator, I see that means there's a lack of exposure. Even if we've got the same model and 4.0, and if you've got the free version, let's say you can ask it 4 questions. I've got the paid version. I can ask it an unlimited amount of questions. That means my skill set, I've got more reps. So if you think about it as exercise or sports, I've got more reps than someone who only has a limited amount of reps. That also creates a rift and a gap. So these are some things to think about. Love to hear what you think about in the comments. Make sure you like and share. Appreciate you all.